Hello and welcome to Six Figure Souls Doing Good and Making Money. This is a very special season 7. I am highlighting my co-authors of our new collaborative book project, The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Successful Soul Professional. I'm your host, Camille Miller, lead author for the book and pioneer of the soul professional movement. Today I have with me a co-author, Dr. Suzanne Joy Stuart, PhD and naturopathic doctor. She's going to be talking a little bit about herself, her chapter, and her work in the world. Thank you, Dr. Suzanne, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited for myself. I'm excited for the world, and I'm excited for everybody that reads this book. There's no choice. Like the universe just invited us all in to do this. This is incredible. This is going to transform every single person that reads these chapters. Some you're going to find are going to be more enlightening for you, and other ones are going to be more educational for you. But
True.
You're going to be excited about this, as I am. I'm really excited to see how people are going to really be able to have a more prodigious life. And that's exciting for me to know that people can change for a better self, because that's my biggest goal in life. I believe that so long as there's a God, there's an answer. And so long as we really continue believing instead of self-doubting and being worried, which brings only on more negative, we need to advance in what's going to be positive for us, because that'll be our truth.
Absolutely. So tell our listeners a little bit about your background. I mentioned you have the PhD, you are a naturopathic doctor, but I know that you are so much more than that, including a spiritual guide, a soul to soul seer. Is that correct? And a light worker. Like there's so many amazing words for you in your work. So tell our listeners a little bit more about you.
Okay, well, I will definitely emphasize I am a naturopathic doctor, and I work a little bit differently than a lot of other naturopaths because I'm also in intuitive health and wellness. I get insight. I always say it's from God and the angels. The material comes to me about my patients.
Mm-hmm.
I also see clients because I have a secondary business that deals with the soul and the spiritual aspects. I work with my patients and my clients with the body, mind, heart, and soul. I feel that they all need to be encompassed at the same time. A person can come in with an issue about health, and we might wind up going down the spiritual realm. Or they can come in and they want to have a reading with me, or they want to be counseled on how to listen to their soul or whatever it is. And we might be seeing an opening door with certain health problems that are holding them back, or something that might have happened earlier in their life, or perhaps even in a past life if somebody believes in that, because we do. The soul carries all the memories of all the bodies it's ever inhabited, which gives us a reading into what's going on, almost like the Akashic records.
Yeah.
And this is magic. It's magic for the client. It's magic for the patient. And I get very excited about it. I've been in the health field my entire life, but professionally, I've been in it since the early 1970s. And the spiritual stuff started coming through since I was 3. As far as introducing it in a business aspect to help people, that was forced on me by a very close friend of mine who happens to be a nurse, and she kept telling me, you need to do this for people, you need to do it. And finally I gave in, and it was more than magic. Things just started happening for people.
When was that? How long ago was that?
That was, let's see, I think it was in 2012 when she started literally being with me, saying, you have all these gifts, you need to be talking to people. And I'd say, I'm a doctor, I'm not going to tell people their future, their fortune. And that's the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
And so I said, that's crazy. And every night we'd sit and talk, and she just wouldn't give up.
Wow.
And finally I went to a show, and it was amazing. I mean, we've had people standing online, not just signing in and waiting to see me, but standing online. We had photos of that, waiting till their turn came. So I took that as a message, and I sought out a teacher after that to really make sure I'm doing things correctly, especially with spirit mediumship, because there's so much more to be known about the human body. If we limit our belief systems, we're going to be limiting ourselves to be the best we can possibly be. And my motto is to believe, to really believe. Too many people have too much fear in their life, which erases the belief, the faith.
Absolutely.
So yes, I like working with the body, mind, heart, and soul to help people open doors for themselves and live a richer, healthier life.
Yeah,
It's
you
all
can
about
feel the
them.
passion in you can feel the passion in your words when you talk about it. And I'm sure your clients probably feel the same thing as you're working with them. So I just want to talk a little bit. You said you've always been spiritual since the age of 3. You kind of had this connection to spirit.
Yeah.
At any time, did you not acknowledge it, or did you go through a phase of, I can't do that, it's not
No,
more
the answer,
acceptable? You were always just, you just
I was
always embraced it.
I was blessed with conservative parents that were open-minded.
Okay, I like that.
Everything that was coming through was accepted. Sometimes they would joke with me about it. So where'd you go last night type of thing. If I had an out-of-body experience, we
Yeah,
didn't know what to call it. This is the 1970s. That term really was non-existent at the time. It might have been, but I never heard of it. My
right.
parents never heard of it. And things like that would happen. I remember when I would be in junior high or high school, my father used to coach the youth activities. And especially when I was in high school, I would give him the score of the end of the game at the beginning of the game. And he wouldn't come to his games anymore. Little things like that, which are kind of cutesy. But I definitely just kept getting stronger and stronger through the years. In college, I was too busy doing other things,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's always been with me, and I've always been listening. In my 20s, I was searching, reading things of books like from Augmentino and Zig Ziglar, et cetera, et cetera. I belong to the Gurdjieff and Ouspensky, which is the training of being in the present time and so forth. So I'm
Mhm.
very grateful for the journeys that I was taking in my 20s. So I have so much to teach other people, because as much as I'm a doctor, I really consider myself a teacher above and beyond anything else, because if I can teach you what I know
Yeah.
openly, so you can take advantage of this. It's useless just sitting in my brain. You've got to have it. So I'm very adamant about teaching people how to listen to their soul, how to be more spiritual. Has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with your relationship to yourself and with God. Whatever God means to you, it doesn't matter to me if you pray to a frog. It's whatever God means to you.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, because I'm a big believer that you are what you believe. And when things aren't working out, you can only look inside, right? You
Right.
can only look in yourself in the mirror, because
And
that's how you change things.
the words you speak, the words you have self-talk about, and what you write, okay, and think, that is going to be your present and your future.
Mm,
Okay? Forget the past, be grateful for the past and what it's taught you. But so long as you bring the past into the present, it will also be your future. And
yeah.
that's no way to live. And in my chapter in the book, I literally give people insight into how to break this down, to be able to understand and listen to yourself and get the right messages.
Oh, that's
Because most people
incredible.
are listening to their ego, or who I call the trickster. And that is going to set them down an incorrect path. They need to be in touch with their higher self. We get in touch with it when we go to sleep at night, and that's going to help you having a better, healthier life. But if you're being negative or you're worrying all the time, which worry to me is another word for fear, then you're never going to be able to move forward and have a healthier, richer, more embodied life.
I
A
love
poor
that.
person could
Yeah.
be very, very rich if they're living a healthy life and they have family around them, and they have all. The rich has nothing to do with money. It has to do with how you live your life and whether you're getting the things that you're putting out there that's positive.
Yeah. I love how you say that if you are constantly, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing because you said it much better, constantly thinking about the past and bringing that up and you're kind of woeing in it, it becomes your future.
Oh, and you
I,
just put a metaphor in there. They're weaving it into their future.
yeah.
And you said
I,
woven. I said, oh, weaving it into the future.
yeah.
You want you we have there's so much, too much to get into
Yes, I
here.
understand.
Yeah. I love to see the transformation that people go through. And I've been walking this path a very long time. And I really like to see people one by one is fine with me. I don't
Yeah.
need to be in an audience of hundreds of people. I prefer it to be smaller so I can make eye contact and really feel you and connect with you, whether it's 20 or 60 people. By the time we get more than that, you lose contact with
Yeah.
the individual.
I'm curious, do you have people that come to you more as a patient for the naturopathic doctor piece and say, I have an ailment, a back, like whatever, and it ends up being more of a subconscious belief or something else that's happening in their life, not and the pain
Yeah,
is reflecting in a different way?
it could, and sometimes what I'm getting is that it could be coming from something that was early life, because I really listen to them when they're talking, and I listen to the words they choose to speak, because the words you speak, okay, and Helen Hayes says this too. I had no idea somebody else was on that same path of me when I met
Yeah,
Helen Hayes, and she was saying the same things that I was saying, and I was back in my early to mid 30s, I think, when
yeah,
I
yeah,
discovered that when I met her. And I said, this is right. This is what's happening to us. And we definitely need to be in the moment. That's all part of the Gurdjieff, being in the moment. In fact, you are as perfect as you can be right now, Camille, or you would be something else.
yeah,
And now that moment is gone. You see, it
yeah,
happens that quickly. So the energy that we put out into the universe is going to come back tenfold. What is it that you are looking to receive? Are you
yeah,
wanting, hoping, wishing, dreaming, and praying for things? When actually, every time you say you want, all you're telling the universe is you want more of what you want, but you're not getting it because you're only wanting it.
yeah. That, I think that is such an important distinction.
It
There's
really
a big
is.
difference between wishing and wanting and actually manifesting.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And
So if,
manifestation is, it gets into the word of belief and faith and
yeah,
trusting yourself. And these people, when they're coming in here, I get a sense it might go back to something early in their life. I even created a particular body works. I've been doing massage for almost 40 years and other different types of body works. And yes,
yeah,
I am definitely a light worker. There's no question about it. And being able to say, are you open about this? And I'm getting a sense of it. When did this start? Because I'm getting a sense it started when you were 4. And I always hit the number right on the neck,
yeah,
because I'm just picking up their energy. It's not
yeah,
like I'm magically reading their mind. I don't believe in mind reading. I believe that we can tune into other people on a deeper level if we really
agreed.
listen to them and feel them,
Yeah,
because everything we go through is a feeling. When a person says, I am unhappy, no, 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 no. You may feel unhappy, but you're not unhappy. That makes zero sense. You want to put out what you feel, and then you'll get more inner truth inside yourself.
yeah. I think it's also important to mention that you can feel your own stuff too. Because you said you can feel it in others, right? You have the ability to feel it in others. But if people just listen to themselves and actually take the time to quiet down, all of the answers they need are in themselves. And
Meditation, meditation, meditation,
yeah, I'm not
meditation.
a great meditator. I just want to put out there, I don't consider myself a meditator. I don't meditate the traditional way. And I always thought I couldn't meditate because I would watch these people sit in a certain way and go into their trance. And I could never do that because I have this monkey mind.
It's more
But
than it's
yeah,
more than
I learned that. I learned that I actually do meditate in my own way because I take quiet time to myself every morning. Every
Yeah.
morning, I have the same routine. When I drive, I could drive I love driving, but I learned that that's actually meditation because everything's kind of just there. And I can zone out. I can figure out all of my problems. Things come to me, and for years, that's how I would figure things out. I would just drive and drive. And that's why I'm always like, you're 3 hours away. I'll come meet you for dinner. Like I'll drive up and I'll drive back because driving to me is my alone time to figure things out. And I used to sit at the beach in a chair and just listen to waves.
Yep.
That's
Meditation.
also like I just because I wasn't doing it like everyone else, now I know, oh my gosh, I do that to get the answers for me.
Of
And
course,
that's everyone
meditation
meditates differently.
it's quieting down the mind. A person who's fishing off the coast, right? A
Yeah.
woman doing some crocheting. It's all a form of meditation,
Yeah.
because you're sitting there quietly in another zone.
Hmm.
Most of the time, we are avoiding thinking about the negatives. We're just connecting with our higher self on
Yeah.
another level. And that's the beauty of it. But the problem is that people are, especially the younger generations, are so engaged in being plugged into social media that they know nothing of what's going on, and they don't even discover themselves.
Yeah, because they don't quiet their
Other people
minds.
think about.
Right.
And that's the whole social media thing is very unhealthy. You know, it really is. I mean, I'm not, it's certainly something that is acceptable, but oh my
It's
God.
the dopamine rush. Yeah. I have kids and I get caught up in it as well, and I can't stop. So I have to be like, okay, just take the app off of your phone or do something, because, or sitting during the winter, sometimes I sit and I watch TV, but I have never watched TV before the pandemic. Like I don't even own all the channels and the cable. Like I never watched TV, but during the pandemic, I was bored out of my mind. So I started watching shows with my kids or but now I still have that almost a habit that I'm trying to break of, at the end of my day, I'll sit on a couch and I'll turn on TV. And I was like, you know what? That's just noise. I never used to do that. Like go cook, go wash the dishes, go do something. Washing the dishes actually does that for me too. I wash the dishes in the middle of my day. Never do my evening dishes because I use it as a break to quiet myself. So I'm always like, just leave them. We don't do dishes at night. It's like, because I need the break. That's how I take my break during the day.
Good. That's very
Yeah.
good.
But I think that's also
I don't
important.
watch any television. I haven't seen television, at least when I lived up in Colorado, we didn't have really good reception. But
Yeah.
I am definitely void a TV watcher. I am a movie addict. I
Yeah.
love movies, especially old movies. They're better. They're 1,000 times better. But TV to me is a waste of time, energy. It's a lot of negative stuff out there.
Yeah.
Even if I'm watching a movie, if I sense something negative is going to happen,
Yeah.
I feel, oh, this man's going to do this, or they're going to hurt the animal, whatever it is, off it goes, or I fast forward it, especially if an animal's in there, because I can't handle seeing an animal being hurt.
Yeah.
A child or a woman, it's like,
Yeah.
I avoid putting negative energy in that I already know is out there in the world, but why fill that negative energy like horror and stuff into my psyche?
Yeah.
That's poison as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And you're just going to get more of it. So I never understood why people, I mean, that's their joy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I'm full of light and love, and I prefer to put more light and love into my energy. Yes, I know the dark is out there. I know all that stuff is out there. I prefer to come from love and light 100% and just keep moving forward. I'm certainly knowing the fact that it exists, but not pouring myself
going
into
there.
it, letting it blow. Because boy, that can take you down.
It's fast. Yeah.
Even through the pandemic, I was getting really sad about all these people and what these people were suffering through. And it took me a while to get past that, because I was getting emotionally concerned about the populace of people dying unnecessarily.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah.
And because I have a lot of compassion for humanity as a whole. And so I'm out here doing what I can do the best I can for each person, even if it's one at a time. That's awesome. I believe that this book is going to change.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch gears and talk about the book now. So you told us about you and your work. Why did you decide to do this book? Now, I know that you have your own book, right? Yeah. But is this the first time you were in a collaborative book?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So why this book now?
Well, I suppose that the idea of dealing with the spiritual, that's what pulls me in, because I have been talking about, I'm writing this book, I'm writing this book, I'm writing this book. And every time I'd sit down to write it, I was unfocused because I'm easily distracted. In fact, I did some really good things before I even started to write the book. I didn't even know I was doing things right, but I was doing it. I just sat down and just literally poured everything out of my head onto sheets of paper.
Wow.
Just let it just keep running and running and running nonstop, because I didn't know what to write.
Gotcha.
And just let me empty out all this spiritual stuff that's sitting in my head, and then maybe I'll pull from that to do it. I never even went back to it, but I cleared that clutter out. And then I went to the public library and started writing, because I needed to be away from distractions. So writing this book, I felt, one, there was one selfish point. The rest was all about the people, you know, the mutuality with everybody. But I said, oh, this is going to help me teach to be a better writer. I mean, maybe it'll help me learn how to be more focused, because if I'm going to write a book, the last thing I want to put in the book is, or the last thing I choose to put in the book is me type stuff. That's gagging.
Yeah.
I've read an author's book like that, and I thought it was disgusting. And I told him that too. It's wrong. I mean, I was expecting this really great book, and it was all about what he did, but he never told us how to do it. And
Right.
this is great, because here we are with this book, and we are telling our story. And I am a storyteller orally, but writing my stories, man, I've got loads of stories, but to sit there and write them, I never, you know, I thought, oh my God, it's all the I me stuff. And that just was bad taste in my mouth. So this opened me up to see things from a different, and I believed getting involved with this was getting an education as a writer, because I've written for newspapers and I've written for magazines, little things here and there. I've been asked to do that, all of that kind of stuff for years and years and years. And this was different. This was cooperative. It was, it really made more sense than anything. And I knew that it was going to be a benefit for the whole. And that was the beauty in it, because it was going to help myself. It was going to help the other people. It was going to help beyond, you know, and that's what caught my eye. And
Awesome.
it was the word spiritual, and understanding that we are giving something, because spiritual word is being used a lot right now. And fortunately, people realize it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with our personal relationship with ourselves and the relationship to the higher power.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So that's my reason.
Yeah. So in writing your chapter and getting your story out, did you find it therapeutic at all?
No.
Okay.
I work on myself as I need to work on
That's
myself.
true. Yeah.
I really do. If, for example, and this is a great piece of advice that I share with people, when I am posed with something that's really bothering me, and it's really it's on my mind, or something happens, I immediately go to, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to do it? Rather than even thinking about worry and stress, I'm already in the progressive mode, because getting into the negative is only going to take you down deeper and deeper in the well before you drown yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel that, you know, no, I've had some very horrific things happen in my life, and I worked through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken to other women who have had certain things, and they look at me, no, this didn't happen to you. Well, sorry, it did. And I worked through it. I was determined not to be a victim for the rest of my life, because the more you repeat things, the more you become that victim. You concrete it. You're building on it. You're adding to it.
Agreed.
And that's true with just about anything we do in our life.
Yeah, agreed.
So it was enjoyable to write it. It got me thinking about, you know, what was going on. And I really felt good about letting people know that there are different ways that we can go about discovering ourselves from the things that we've learned that are positive or negative, and how we can transform from that rather than being stuck. And of course, again, this book is going to answer that question for a lot of people.
Yeah, I can't wait to read your chapter. Can you tell us the name of your chapter?
The name of the chapter is a little bit long. It's
Okay.
Believe, of course, the word believe, your soul's challenges and rewards. Discover the remarkable power within you.
Beautiful.
And it's in everybody. When people say, well, how do you know this? I said, everybody has the ability to do what I do.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? Well, tell me what I'm thinking. I said, it's not that way. But I don't watch television. I rarely listen to the radio. It's usually classical music that I'm listening to, because that's going to keep my mood in an even stabilized way. Yes, I like other music and I will listen to it. I really keep my energy in the light as much as possible. So
Great
yes.
lesson. Yeah. Dr. Suzanne, if someone wants to learn more about you and your work, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
I have 2 websites.
Okay.
My naturopathic website is naturally balanced, with a D, balancedhealth.com.
Okay.
And then with the spiritual, it's dolphinangelwings.com, dolphinangelwings.com. And so the water animals are part of my family, very much so. So that name came from out of nowhere. This is what you're going to call that.
Okay. I was going to ask where that came from. Okay.
Well, I was invited to do an event, and all of a sudden I had to have business cards and a name
Yeah.
sign, and I had only 5 days to do this. And it was like, okay. And all of a sudden the
That's
dolphin
okay.
name, because I love the whales and the alligators and the mermaids, and I connect with them. And so, and it does attract a lot of people just because of the name of it.
Huh.
Who would have known, right?
That's good. Yeah. That's what you want.
That's
Awesome. Well, your bio and your links and information are all in the show notes. So for our listeners that are listening, and if you want to hear more, they are all in the show notes if they didn't catch that or they're driving. That's all I got. Dr. Suzanne, thank you so much for being a co-author with me in this book, which I'm so excited that will be coming out in July. And thank you for your chapter and being a guest on our podcast today.
Oh, thank you for having me here. This has been exciting and beautiful. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. All right. Thank you to our listeners for joining us today as well. For more information about the Soul Professional Movement, you can go to soulprofessional.com. This podcast is sponsored by the Natural Life Business Partnership, a global professional organization and business incubator for the soul-aligned entrepreneur. If you live in a higher vibration, have an alternative approach to business, and want to help repair the world, you can join us at our next meet and greet. To find out more and a date that works with you and your time zone, go to soulprofessional.com. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Love you all.